Hey guys, Jacob here with ChartSlinger.com, and welcome to the Chasing Profits video series. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to be interviewing some of our most profitable traders and get you guys a look behind the curtain on how they do what they do every day, and how they pull money out of the markets every single day. So today we're going to start with Stix. You guys know him as @StixTrades on Twitter. And just bear with me here. During the video, my PowerPoint was kind of going in and out, but the audio is golden. So here we go. Here's Stix. So first off, everybody, this is Stix @StixTrades on Twitter. Is one of our probably most profitable traders, I think, in the group. Um, Definitely better than me, know that.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I do, man. I think I've only seen you lose maybe like 2 days, which is amazing to me. That's why I want to do this, to to kind of squeeze out some of your knowledge, man, because it's amazing what you do every day. So, if you want, if you would maybe just give us kind of a background of like maybe what you used to do for a living and how you got into trading. Maybe start there.
Sure. Nursing. That's my degree.
Nursing, okay.
Yep. About 10 years ago, actually. Graduated from nursing school back in '07, '07, '06, '07. And sorry, my girlfriend's smiling here at me. And basically, what helped me pay for nursing school was swing trading. So that's how I originally started. Me and my friend, my best friend, we were always looking in the markets and basically just trying to learn, nothing serious, nothing big back in the day. And then from there, we just started searching around how to trade, where to go. Initially, he was at Schwab, and I was at Fidelity. And it was nothing big. It was just small trading. Some of it was actually from 401ks that I had, and from not 401ks, but from Roth IRAs that I had started, and I was just doing my own trading with that. Um, and then I started to look for patterns and learning, basically just charting, in other words.
Yeah.
Those initial years were crucial, though, because even though I lost a lot of that money, there were lessons that I paid for, in other words. And then from swing trading, which towards the end was actually very profitable, it helped me pay for nursing school,
Oh, wow.
for a lot of it. Yeah, the majority of it, actually. Because prior to nursing school, you have to take prerequisites and all this other stuff that aren't really nursing, so to speak. But
Yeah, sure.
yep. And then after that, I worked, and then I went back to trading. And that's actually where I found Ross Cameron.
Okay.
Yeah, with Ross, he's the one that taught me basically momentum trading. Um, and then from momentum trading, I learned his tricks and all that stuff. And then I kind of like meshed it all together into my own system that I use, and it's effective. I've noticed that it works best with SPY.
Yeah.
I'm sure it works with the other ETFs. It works well with like JNUG and SPY and DGAS, UGAS, all those like little ETFs and commodity type things. With stocks, it works well, but not if it's a gap and go play. Simply because it just, with the momentum that it has, it tends to break the those patterns up a little bit. It just gets choppy with that. But yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. When you were swing trading, what kind of names were you swing trading? Was it like ETFs or like the FANG stocks?
ETFs. I was doing ETFs. I was doing AMD quite a bit. Nvidia. I did Facebook some. What was the other one that I did? Facebook, Nvidia. Actually, I have them on my watch list still. I did Facebook, Nvidia, a lot of the tech, I guess you would call, like, not Google or anything huge like that either. Um,
So you were
and
just
then I
focusing on a few stocks, not really
oh
like
yeah, it was
just
just like
scanning the
three
mass.
or four.
Okay,
Right. And then once I had, success in one of them, I tend to look at that one the most.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll circle back around to this. Can you just tell us a little bit about your trade desk?
Yep.
So like how many monitors you have, maybe what kind of computer you have, things like
Yep.
that.
So I have three monitors. Only two are on at the moment. The other one is sitting to my left somewhere. Um, and my computer is it's not a Mac. I'm not a fan of Macs, but anyway, it's got a 500 uh, gigabyte SSD. It's got 32 RAM, 32, yeah, 32 gigs of RAM.
Wow.
Um, I do some gaming, so a lot of it you'll see that it's got like gaming components in there. It has a NVIDIA GTX 1060 because my other one blew up, so I went with a 1060 for now until I can figure out what I did wrong. I'm sure I probably overclocked it too much, and yeah. Anyway, and then some kind of gold power supply that I'm not even sure what it is. Nothing too special, nothing too complicated either. It's not water cooled. It's all just regular fans blowing in there.
Okay, cool. So, but you got a pretty powerful system, I think, compared to most people probably.
Yeah, and that's because I like
Yeah,
having
the
multiple
gaming
windows.
stuff.
Like, yeah, well, the gaming too, but I also like having multiple windows open,
Yeah.
watching several things at once, which helps.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And you use TOS for people
Correct.
that don't know.
Right.
Um, okay. How many actual charts do you think you watch just with Spy?
With Spy, so for Spy, I have the 180-day open, but that one just kind of stays in the background, so to speak. I don't really pay attention to it that much, um, unless I see a humongous drop and I want to see if that candle has changed for the day. That's basically the only reason I have the 180-day, and or for those 4 hours rather, because it goes by each candle is 4 hours, and then the I do have for the Spy, I have the 5 minute, the 1 minute, and then alongside I have some other components of Spy open on there, like Amazon, Google, Facebook, and some other ones just on the top as well.
Okay.
Those that are open, that are the components of Spy, those are all on the 5 minute chart. And then for Spy itself, I have Spy open on a 1 minute and Spy open on the 5 minute, as well as the option chain that I'm looking at, or the strike price that I'm looking at on the 1 minute and also on the 5 minute.
Okay. All right. So that seems like a good segue to go into the indicators. So if we're just looking at like the one you sent me with the active trader
Hmm.
view on it, that's those are the looks like you're in a put 275 put 275.50 put. If I can get this thing to stay on, it keeps going back. And you have the 1 minute and the 5 minute up. So can you just tell us kind of what indicators you're looking at? What you have on the chart there. It looks like you have a few moving averages, maybe a MACD and level two. Can you just tell us what those are?
Yeah. So for the 5 minute, I have the underneath that I have the MACD, which the settings on that one, by the way, are 12, 26, and 9.
Yeah, I think
And
those are
then
default, right?
yeah, basically, I know a lot of
Yeah.
people change them, but I keep them at whatever it is by default. And then underneath that, I have level twos. And something I realized that you probably can't see because it's after hours is the sale, or the times in sales. I have that open right next to the 5 minute, but it's completely black right now
Oh,
because there's
okay.
nothing
I
going
didn't
on.
even notice that. I'm glad you said that. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, and then yeah, so for the reason I have 5 minute and then all that underneath it is because I like to use the level twos to make my entries. Basically, that's one of the ways I'm able to tell what it's gonna do, like right before a few seconds, or rather, right a few seconds right before it does it. Um, And I just like to go by the size of things. You know, if there's a huge, for example, if there's a huge number sitting there, and I think I told someone else in the group this. There's multiple videos on this, but if you know a large, for example, a lot of people are confused that they think that a large bid is bullish and a large ask is bearish, but it's the opposite really, especially when it comes to stocks,
Okay.
and they are momentum runners, so to speak. So this works kind of well at the beginning of the day, especially with the gap and go setup. Large bids tend to be bearish, large asks tend to be bullish, and I had to learn that the hard way, losing a lot of money on that one. But yeah, so it has like a little rubber band effect, so to speak. You see a large ask, and I can see that basically starting to move upwards on the level twos. And when I see the large ask telling me bullish, I see that I could either go in now and anticipate that jump, which is a scalp. And when I do a scalp, I do about 4 to 5 cents, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have 50 contracts, it adds up to like 250, $300.
Okay.
So it's a good cushion to build, on like a move that takes less than a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I see that large ask, I decide whether to go in or not, and that's basically just to see how quickly it tends to shoot up or how quickly it's getting bought out.
And to be clear for everyone, you're looking at level 2 on the actual option contract, is that right?
Correct.
Not on SPY itself.
Right. Not on SPY itself. Not when I'm scalping at least.
Okay.
Yeah, when I'm scalping, it's too fast. I can't look at everything all at once, so I just concentrate on level twos for the option for the options rather. Whenever I'm doing like a 5 minute, I call it a 5 minute play. In reality, it doesn't take 5 minutes. It takes more like 30 minutes, but it's based on the 5 minute chart, which is why I call it 5 minute play.
Okay.
With a 5 minute play, using mainly the 5 minute chart, I decide basically when to. It would be a good time to buy, but then I do my buy order based on the 1 minute. So I wait for the best possible entry that I can get.
And when
Um,
you say best possible entry, you're talking about something up around the moving averages, or how do you determine
um,
that?
well, we're talking about catching the lowest of that, the bottom of that, in other words. And I gauge most of that is gauged on the 1 minute by the MACD on the 1 minute. Some people wait for the crossover move, as they call it, or the crossover,
Mm-hmm.
which works. I mean, the crossover can tell you quite a bit. A lot of times, also, I scalp based on the divergence. And I'm sure, I think you've posted some stuff on the on divergence or not. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I play that sometimes too, looking for reversals in the trend.
Right. So let me see if I can. Oh shit! I can't draw here. Oh yeah, I can. Sorry, I'm trying to draw something and I'll. Oh, maybe you won't be able to show this. Or maybe you will. I'm not sure.
Let me see if you send it to me in the
Uh,
text, I can see it. Yeah, just when you clip it, just pop it in the chat there, and we'll be able to
all
see it.
right. I'm gonna try and draw on it. Hold on 1 second. All right. All right. My paint skills are not very well, but anyway, you get the point. And obviously, I would never buy a strike that has that's worth each contract that's worth 6 cents,
Right.
because that would take me like thousands just to make any money on that, and then it would cost me thousands probably in commissions anyway.
Yeah,
But
so
it's just for
you're
example.
usually buying close to the money, right?
Right. I just like the price range between 50 cents to about $1.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's better, with the commissions that I have.
Right.
Let's see if this worked. Hang on, real quick.
Okay.
So how the can you see it?
Yep, I get it.
All right. So how the MACD is going up, is going up, but then you see that corresponding stock prices going down, right where it turns from red to green. Oh, you know what? You can't see the bottom part. Darn it. Well, it doesn't matter. Um, anyway, but around that, yeah, you can't see it. But there's
Is it
that's a
crossing?
divergent pattern. But then there is a what's it called? A crossover
Okay, so the MACD, the two
at the
lines on the
bottom that
MACD
you
are
can't
crossing
see.
over.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
you can't see that anyway. But that's basically signaling a spike. And in this case, it went from the very bottom of that line where that candle touches from 6 cents all the way up to the top of the other one, which is like 9 cents,
Hmm.
which is, granted, it's only 3 cent, but it's about 60% or so, or 50%, something like that.
Okay.
But
Cool.
anyway, that's like a spike. Or if you're going to scalp that, that would be a great you know a great opportunity if you were to catch it on a bigger price range.
Okay. Cool. How many times a day you think does this happen? Like in the morning, say within the first hour, how many times do you have that MACD movement crossing?
Um, like the divergence move,
Not divergence
or just
necessarily,
necessarily
just a
just a
MACD
crossover
crossover. Yeah, just a MACD crossover on the option chains. Or
on the options chains. It probably crosses over like 6 7 times.
oh, really? That many times? Okay,
I,
that's interesting.
yeah,
All right.
it's quite a bit. Which, it's great because the wonderful thing about that is that you can make money both ways. Puts and calls, and it crosses over. You can just flip over to the calls and take advantage of that.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. All right. So, how about the moving averages? What are the links on those, and are they EMAs or SMAs?
The moving averages are EMAs. I have a now for me the moving averages. The only reason why they're on here, to be honest with you, on the options chain is because, or on the options chart, is because if I remove them, it actually for some reason it removes them on the stocks itself as well. So I really only have them here whenever I trade stocks. It's already up there. In other words, on my windows.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they have. I honestly haven't been paying close attention to them whenever I'm trading options. I actually don't think it plays into anything much for the options chart themselves. However, I do use them on. I don't know if you saw on the SPY 5 minute. I have a EMA, a 9 EMA on all of my charts actually, including the 180 day. Actually, I have a 9 EMAs there and there as well, and then I do have a I believe I have, what is it, uh, a 50 EMA as well.
Okay. So on your 5 minute, you said you have a 9, and what's the other one, like a 10 or
On the
20?
5 minute, I just have a 9.
Okay. What's the other line? Is that the what do they call it? Inherent price or whatever?
That's the right. That one I can't do anything about. That one comes. It's the theoretical options price.
Theoretical option price. That's what it's called.
Yeah, and that one just comes with charting the options. It's something that they automatically slap on there, which I
Got it.
think it's great though, because sometimes it does give you a pretty good indication of where it's going to go. Um, but because their software lately has been kind of crappy, and it's been doing a bunch of glitches with that. But I just leave it there anyway.
Okay, I didn't know that that's what it was. So that's not an EMA for everybody that's listening. That's the actual theoretical option price line.
Right.
So okay, I see you also have RSI. Do you use that at all?
I do not as much as, for example, when I'm trading stocks, or when I'm looking at the actual. Like I use it mostly whenever I'm looking at the like at the SPY, for example. I'm not sure if people are familiar with TOS that much, but you can change your. And I'm gonna draw another picture here for you.
Okay.
You can change really quick if you go from calls, puts, or stocks or whatever by changing here. By click, oh, that looks really small. By clicking on that little number 3 and it has that blue number 3 has a little drop down box that has a bunch of other numbers and colors to them. You can assign stocks to different colors and numbers, rather, or numbers.
Right.
And you can switch to them very, very quickly. So most of the times, the reason why I have the RSI is just whenever I'm trading stock. So for example, as you saw there, the number 3 for me is JNUG. So
Gotcha.
that's one of the reasons why I have it on there. Yeah, I
So
don't really have it on the 5 minute though. It's just mainly on the 1 minute that I play that.
okay, so you'll set up like the screen that you showed with all the different charts. You'll set up different links for each ones, and you know the numbers for those, and you'll just click over when you want to switch over, right?
Exactly.
And you do the same thing like with like if you're switching from calls to puts.
Exactly. So for me, puts is the dark green or number 4, and calls is number 5 always, so that I know quickly where I'm going.
Okay, cool. And I assume your active trader you have linked in that too, so you only have to click one button and it just goes for all of them, right?
Right. So when you switch
Okay.
to for example, to the calls, the active trader follows that window because it's next to it. In other words, so it takes that. So it trades the active window trades whatever your chart is.
Okay, you have it set up inside the actual window, not in another window. Okay,
Exactly.
got it.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, so let's talk about money management a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, so for you, you use a margin account, right?
Right.
And you're over PDT, and you like to stay that way so you can recycle your capital in the middle of the day, right?
Right. Now that over PDT is only on one account. I have two accounts that are under the PDT.
And are you using those? Are those margin accounts too, or you have them as cash accounts?
No, they're all margin accounts.
Okay, cool. So you're trying to grow those up above, I guess, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. Um, so let's just talk about your main account. Um, for say, how do you determine um, like how much risk you want to take on each trade? Like, say, how did you come up with the 50 contracts or whatever?
All right. So before I was doing 100 contracts, and I could even be doing a uh, like basically buying 50 or 100 contracts on both ends, so puts and calls, holding them, and almost like some people do spreads, or some people do. My God, my mind is slipping. I can't even remember now. Um, that term, the where you buy both sides
A
and on the same
straddle.
strike, a straddle. Thank you. Yeah, so I was doing that before because the market was moving fairly predictable, up and down. But now lately, it's been doing a and where it picks one side, whether it's bullish or bearish, and it just keeps dropping.
Right.
At least and something that's worth mentioning also is I trade until about 11 a.m., 12, about noon, Texas time.
Okay.
So for me, that's my day, and that's usually the way I look at the market: is what is it doing within that first half. So lately, it's just been slamming or going up for that majority of the time. So obviously, if I buy both sides, it wouldn't be good. And I actually got caught in a trade. I think maybe a couple months ago, or a month and a half ago, something like that, where I bought both sides, like I would know, like I was doing before, except it was just tanking, and the other side was climbing up a lot. Anyway, ended up being like a break even almost day, and then that kind of sucked because it could have been a great day. So that's when I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to start taking half of my normal position, which was 100. So now it's 50 contracts. And I'm just going to have to pick one side. So I'm going to let things kind of cook or mellow out, so that I can read the pattern within the first 5 to 10 minutes after market opens, and just follow it along that momentum that it's having, or that side that it's deciding to do, like whether it goes up or down.
Sure. Okay. And do you have like a profit target for each trade or?
Not necessarily for each trade. At the very beginning, I do like to build a cushion, so to speak. Um, a cushion where, if I take a bad trade, or if I scalp something and it doesn't go my way, which has happened multiple times, then at least I won't be losing money. I'll just be taking money out of those profits that I got. The daily goal is 1,000. That's always a daily goal. But per trade, I don't really have a. As long as I'm, it's a positive number. It's a green number. I'm happy.
Okay. So do you have um, a stop loss, like a mental stop loss? I guess you don't. You probably don't use a hard stop, but you probably have a mental stop.
Right. The only time I use a hard stop is when I'm stepping out of the, away from the computer. Other than that, I just have a mental stop. Lately, it's been it's been about 5 to 10 cents. It really does depend on how. For example, if I'm going into the trade, and I'll say it in the chat room, I'll say it on the voice chat rather, that I'm not too sure about this entry, but I'm gonna just try to jump in anyway with even smaller size, like 10 contracts instead. I'll have my stop loss about 5 cents. If I'm pretty sure about it, that I'm definitely thinking it's gonna go up, but I'm gonna give myself more room in case it does drop more than I thought. Then, but even though I'm still sure that it will go up, I'll give myself like 10 cents, which is a lot to lose if I'm wrong.
Okay. And 10 cents on 50 contracts is how
Yeah.
much?
It depends on the price, but it could be anywhere between like 500 to $700.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
And then that's not including commissions. So commissions
Right.
eat up about another 40 or $50. So
Yeah. It's too bad you can't. They don't have the active trader like this on Tastyworks. I'd say jump over to Tastyworks,
I know where
but
it's like what one
it's a
what is
dollar. It's a
yeah it's
dollar per contract. So
yeah, that's not bad at all.
yeah. All right. And you already said you have your $1,000 daily profit. What's your um, daily max loss?
Daily max loss has been, it used to be 500. And to be honest with you, it changes. So for example, let me give you an example. Let's say that I'm up $2,000,
Hmm.
right? Then I'm willing to lose $1,000 of that.
Right.
Any more, and I'll stop. Let's say that I'm up $1,000. I'm willing to lose 500 of that. If I'm zero and let's say I start to lose money, I'll probably stop at around 500, unless it's something that I have no control of. It just suddenly drops and I get it out at 1,000, then 1,000 it is. But if it hits 1,000, what I do is I just literally turn off the PC and then go do something else. Like I'm done for the day. I don't come back or anything.
So revenge trading is not a problem for you.
Right.
There's always tomorrow for you. Okay.
Yeah, let's just say I've learned those lessons.
Yeah, and I think that's a big problem for a lot of people, especially myself. Like I'm usually a swing trader, but this year, I mean, swing trading is kind of out of the question,
Right.
just because it's been so much volatility. So I've been trying to learn how to day trade, but yeah, that's been one of my Achilles heels is trying to after I lose, I'll try to come back and find another play, and it usually just goes against me anyway, again.
Yeah.
So it ends up losing more. So
And I'll tell you, I think when I was swing trading, one of the hardest thing for me to do jumping into day trading was bag holding. Only because I was so used to just, hey, if I swing trade, I'll hold this for 2-3 weeks or longer, and I'll be okay. And that same mentality crossed over to day trading, and I'm like, okay, well, I think one time I held SQ for a while. Was it SQ? SQ was probably the most recent one that I did, where that I tried to swing trade, and it didn't go my way, and it just kept dropping and dropping. Anyway, one loss turned to like I think it was like $2,500
yeah,
in the red, when I could have just said, you know what, cut losses like I would now. Now I know better. I would have cut losses like at 500 or maybe even 1,000. But yeah, that mentality is like, okay, well, my play didn't go well. I'm just gonna hold it through the day, and then the next day comes, and you're like, okay, well, it still's not doing well. I'll just hold it for the week. Yeah, and then those things can get bad, especially if it's a large amount of money. It just eats away at your capital to be able to trade more. In other words.
well, it also especially with trading these weekly options contracts, I mean,
Oh yeah, that wouldn't be
if
possible.
you hold more than a couple of hours, I mean, you're going to be really hard
Yeah.
pressed to get back to break even if it goes in
Yep.
your way.
Yeah, I actually don't swing trade options. I used to, but I would look out like 3 months, 2 months ahead.
Yeah.
I think 1 month and a half was like the minimum, or a month away is the minimum, like my criteria, in other words, that I would do. But yeah, it's too risky to hold them, in my opinion. I know people that do well by swing trading options, but that's just not something I like doing.
Yeah, you have to be right in the direction
Yeah,
within a few days. If not, you got to cut it because.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. So just to kind of summarize everything that you said, so basically for um, getting a buy signal or a sell signal, you're looking at your options contract charts, and you're looking at a MACD crossover, right? And
Mhm.
then for the actual entry, you're watching the level two,
Mhm.
looking for the size on the bid or the ask based on whichever it is for where you're going to go, right?
Right. And then also something I didn't mention before, maybe, but when I'm looking at the 5 minute chart, at least I'm also having the SPY chart open, and I have level twos on the SPY too, even though it doesn't really matter. But I have the same window basically, but for the SPY itself, not just for the options.
Okay.
And then when I'm trying to make my entry, I basically only look at the 1 minute options chart.
Okay. How does this translate to if you were going to be trading a day trading a stock, like say JNUG, for example?
It's actually a mirror image. Is the same. The system works for for options, ETFs, and stocks in the same way.
Okay.
Especially level two. I actually think level twos works best for stocks and for ETFs than it does for options. The options, because you actually see the you can see the influence that a large ask or a large bid would have on a stock versus an options chain. Just like you would see, like a huge buy or a huge buyer, the difference that it has or the impact it has on a low float or a low volume stock.
Okay.
Like trading penny stocks, for example. You trade
Right.
millions of shares and you can actually make the move yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one thing I don't think I asked you. What? Say you're in a trade and it's going your way. What makes you get out?
For that, depending on the time of day, I go by the RSI. For that one, I do look at the RSI. Oh, by the way, my RSI is set to 80/20, which is, I might be, is it the stand? Is it the default? Or I think default might be 70/30. I
I
can't
think it's
remember.
70/30. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, mine is set to 80/20. Even though it's set to 80/20, I tend to go by that 30/70 rule. So the closer it's getting to that 30, I'm thinking to sell, in other words, at that point. And then the other thing I do is I do use the MACD for my exits.
Oh, is that right?
Um,
Uh,
yeah, so let me see. Um, let me do this one. I'm going to take another picture. I'm sorry.
sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Even though there's the 5 minute, at least I can point it out here. Uh, I'm going to put some yellow outline on this one so you can tell the difference of what I'm talking about. Okay. Hopefully it's not too small. Let me know if you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, so obviously, you can see that the green on the MACD and then the red, obviously the colors there, you can see that the green means that it's been going up, the stock price. The red means that it's been going down. So when I see that change between bright green to dark green, I start to think about maybe exiting.
Okay.
Um, as you can see, right as it starts to switch from dark green to red green, I mean from dark or from bright green to dark green, it begins to drop, and the smaller those little bars get, the more it tends to drop until eventually it's going down. Um, but you can't just. I see a lot of people relying on just the MACD, and you can't just rely on a single indicator. It's not going to work well like that. Reason being is because if you're watching this live, like
Yeah.
if you're watching the actual options chart live, those will change from dark or from bright green bars to dark green or dark green bars several times. They'll just flip flop like back and forth, back and forth. So you can't really use just that. You also have to use the level twos, and that's mainly where my signals come from. And a lot of people keep asking me, I mean, how do you read level twos? But honestly, it just comes with experience. You have to keep watching them and then kind of studying them. As much as I hate using that word study, because I hate it. I think it's anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
that's something that I really don't have any experience with is level two.
yeah, level twos are a huge indicator. In fact, there's people that trade with just level twos. Like they don't even have the charts open.
Wow.
Yeah. I could drop some names, but I'm not sure. But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
no need.
So yeah, there's people that just trade with level twos. They don't
Huh.
have charts open. They don't have anything else. They just have level twos, and that's how they make their entries and their exits. And man, they do good. But yeah, so level twos. When I see a huge bid and I see that it's going that way that I think it's gonna go, then I go ahead and put my sell on there. And that's usually what I've noticed is that it's usually around that time that I just circled that on that image. I circled those in
Yep.
yellow.
Yeah.
That's usually when it ends up happening. Um, so I mean, you can technically play it by the MACD, but you can get faked out really easily on your entries
Yeah.
if you just use the MACD alone, because the MACD will mess with you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
it's not always 100%. It'll do things like I'm gonna take another picture here for you.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that as well. I've started using MACD a lot the past couple of weeks, and yeah, I've had several times where um, it was crossing, and then it would fake out and maybe go sideways and then go back down or something.
Exactly. The
So,
MACD will play with your emotions, man.
but I mean,
Like,
if I've noticed if it's really like swinging hard up and then swinging hard down through it, usually you get a decent signal. But if it's
oh
just
yeah,
kind of creeping, a lot of times it'll fake you out.
right. And then exactly. It's just it's hard, and you'd have to be really, you'd have to be willing to take a loss to be able to just play with a MACD,
Right.
with the MACD alone. I think. In this image that I'm sending you right now, like you can see how playing with just the MACD can actually, cause you to lose some money. You see that it's actually turned from bright red to dark red. So it's signaling that it's going to move up, and it is moving up. It moves up a little bit, but all of a sudden, bam, it crashes. And instead of turning from red to green like it should, it just turns to all of a sudden bright red, and it just slams right back down.
Yep.
So that's how people get faked out. They would buy in at that red bar, or early, too early, and they would wait, and thinking it's gonna go up. Oh, look, it's going up, and all of a sudden it just catches them on the wrong side, and it just, yeah, just turns completely red on them. That's the reason why a lot of people do wait for a crossover. That's just a kind of like a reassurance, so to speak.
Yeah. One thing I've started doing is I'll get the crossover, let it print, and then I'll wait for it to come up through an EMA, like 21 EMA or
Right,
something like that. But that way it's confirmed that it's a reversal.
right,
I use that on my exits.
right. And some people say that you leave some money on the table, but who cares? If you're green, you're green. That's better than being red.
That's right.
It's the most, I guess. It's a way to be more. It's a way to be sure about your your entry, in other words.
Yep. All right. So that's about it, I think, unless you have anything else to add. We'll have a couple closing questions, um, the ones that we hate to answer.
Hmm.
So, what advice would you have to any new traders or even experienced traders that want to learn your methods?
I would say, well, for new traders, let's start there. First, learn stocks. I think that's important to always learn stocks before you start going into options. Just because you get like an experience on how volatility works and just how quickly things can go up and down. Because just how quickly it can go up and down, I think it's multiplied in options.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, those losses can be 80% and they're fast.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's definitely something that I would suggest. Also, paper account. I think I think Ross mentions this the best, is he always wants you to be about 3 to 6 months profitable on a simulation or a simulator before you start putting real money in your account. And I think that should be a golden rule. And I don't know why I don't see it more often on Twitter and then all these other furus that say stuff. Is that they should really be putting in money or putting in time on a simulator before anything else.
Yeah.
Um, hold on one second. On and for experienced traders, is just unfortunately a lot of times the experienced traders end up having the hardest. Because I've taught a few people, I've taught some close friends of mine how to use my system and how to swing trade with it. Actually, I've never taught them how to use the options because they saw how crazy it can get.
Yeah.
But I've taught people how to do swing trading with this, and I've noticed that the people who have the hardest time are those who have actual experience in trading already. And it's just because I'm thinking it's got to do with their own psyche, with their own ability to handle their emotions. And like, for example, I cut losses. Some people say I cut losses too early, and sometimes I do. But I've been on the side that really hurts when you're up 1,000 and all of a sudden you're down 3,000 because you didn't cut losses. That's a bad sting, and I don't ever want to feel that again.
Yep.
So I always call losses early, which is one of my things, one of my criteria that I have before I even sit in front of the desk to trade, is to be willing to cut losses. And I think that's one of the major things. Is one of the best advice I can give anybody is to cut losses early. You can always jump back in with the remaining money you have, but if you lose 80% of that, you're gonna be hating yourself, and it's gonna be really hard to get your mind back into the game, even if you wait a week, just knowing that you've lost 80% of your account.
I completely agree. I think that's some of the best advice you can give. Is manage your risk.
Yes.
All right. And I know you mentioned Ross. So the next question was, are there any courses or study materials that you recommend?
This is a very good question, and my answer to that is, if you're a person who has the time to do research, I imagine if you have the time to do a classroom, you probably have time to do research. So I would say for now, don't buy anything. Just start doing your research online, because almost, I would say 90%, maybe 85% of the stuff that people are taught in the classrooms is actually available for free in other areas, whether it's articles or other websites, free websites, or YouTube videos. Explore those options first. Explore those things first before you start forking over 5K for a class. Like, Ross is not cheap.
Yeah, I
Uh,
noticed that. He's like,
yeah,
like 3 grand or something
warrior
like that.
trading is not cheap. It's
Yeah.
expensive, and so is so is Mojo Day Trading. He charges an arm and a leg, but he's one of the best level twos that I've ever seen. One of the best readers of level twos I've ever seen. Um, but yeah, so if you're gonna spend all that money, you might as well dedicate the time to do some research ahead of time, ahead of spending all that, and because it's a pretty penny, man. I think some of Mojo Day Trading, some of his classrooms are like 20K and up.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, they're expensive, so it's not something that's like, whenever you pay for a $400 class or something like that, all they've really done is they just gathered
Yeah.
all of that information that's available for free, and put it in an easy to read package, in other words.
Right.
So that's really, you're paying for the time they took to gather that info and present it to you in a nice way, instead of you going out there and doing the research, because it is for free. All of it is out there for free.
Okay. Any good Twitter followers or Twitter follows that you recommend?
Chartslinger is a good one.
That guy never posts anything.
uh, there are a few. I don't know how real they are, but there are a few that I do follow. That it's impressive to see those numbers, even if they're real. It's impressive. Um, I do follow like Option Sniper, and I follow let's see, what's his name? ATX90 or so. Let me see if I can find him. Hang on. He posts some incredible numbers. I do follow Own the Chaos too. He does penny stocks mostly.
Own the
I th-
Chaos. Okay, I haven't
yeah,
heard of him.
I think We Trade HQ is he's part of We Trade HQ, and let me see. I follow Mojo Day Trading, of course. Mm, and I guess now is a good time to figure out what is a good Twitter. Like for me, I don't like, some people consider good Twitters are those who like give, like signals, like buy signals or sell signals or something like that. I don't really care for that. So for me, I'm like,
Yeah, I don't either.
yeah. So for me, a good Twitter would be someone who like posts basic info, like Swing Play Trades has
Yeah.
something on there about symmetrical triangles, ascending triangles, descending triangles. Like that would be a good Twitter follow for someone who's, beginning or who's starting.
Yeah, some of the ones that I really like are the guys that post charts. So like
Yeah.
John's charts, also Trader Stewie,
Right, right. I've
guys like that. 'Cause they're posting their charts and they draw the patterns that they're seeing and where they think it's gonna go or something like that, which is really good for somebody that's just starting out. I think to
right,
kind of get in the head of some of these guys that are making good money.
right, right. Definitely. I mean, there's everybody posts, their watch lists and all that. That to me is like, you can go the day before before market opens, run a scan, and then get a watch list. Like that's not hard.
Yeah.
But doing some chart analysis and posting it out there and actually, you know, doing that, taking the time to do it, I think those are the ones that are worth following.
I agree, sir.
Something that's worth actually looking at.
Okay. Any books or anything? Do you have any favorite trading books, or
Uh,
have you read any trading books?
I have. I'm actually. Hold on, real quick. I can't actually remember what Ross's book was. He has. I'm not. Trust me, I am not affiliated with the guy. I don't get paid by him or anything like that.
No, yeah.
But he has a free book that he gives out in his webinars. A free ebook. Um, I've read his, and I'm gonna post a picture of this other book
Okay.
to you. Hang on, real quick. And I love this book. It's the one by William J. O'Neill. I think everybody,
Oh, yep. I have that one.
the How to Make Money in Stocks.
Yep.
I think I have an older version. I don't know. I bought two of his. Basically the same thing, but anyway, I'll post a picture of this so that maybe people can see it on the. But yeah, I love this book. Um, it gives a nice little history lesson on everything that's happened
Yeah.
in the markets and how it all started, so to speak. And yeah, it's good stuff.
I think that one's also that's where the uh, Investors Business Daily came from. Is that right?
I believe so. I
I think
think so.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great, great book.
Okay, cool.
And honestly, the best teacher is just you getting out there and like a simulator or even just looking at the charts, following them in the morning and doing that. Like I know a lot of people will do a paper trading on Toss, or they'll do what is that feature they have? It's a really good feature. Don't get me wrong.
On demand, yeah. We
On demand. There you go.
you probably seen we actually do that for anybody that wants to join. Several of us get together on a Discord, maybe like 2 times a week at night, and we'll do the on demand. So we'll pick one stock and then start at the open, and we'll go to 9 a.m. and see who makes the most money. It's a lot of
Yep.
fun. It's good practice.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Also, another thing you can do is don't even trade. Don't even just open up an account with a real money account with TD Ameritrade. Put like $200 in there, whatever. Don't even trade. Just look at whatever stock you want, AMD, JNUG, whatever, and just follow it throughout the day if you have the time, or at least until like 12 before everything slows down. And just look at it and see. Pretend okay, I would have gone in here. Did it go my way? Go my way? How come it didn't go my way? And then eventually these patterns will start to come out.
Yeah.
Like why it didn't work, or you'll be able to pinpoint. Okay, it's probably going to shoot up here, and sure enough, it'll shoot up, and yeah, it all is all about just how much you look at charts.
Yeah. Okay, cool, man. Well, that's all I have. Really appreciate you taking the time for the group, and I guess we'll see you in the chat.
Yes, sir. Anytime, man. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, brother.
You take care, man.
Later.
Bye.